Hey homies, hope you guys are having a good day. Today we're going to be taking a look at 2v2. So thanks for checking out Cosmonarchy. It's pretty epic, and as you can see, there's a lot about it that's different from Starcraft 1, like harvesting directly from the geyser, for example. But that's just one of our many differences, you see. Let's introduce our players. Our top team is Desire. The Vermilion Zerg. Looked a little bit darker. Up here in the top right, allied to Desire, we have SmrtyCakes. I'm going to say Glacial Terran, but it was Alice Blue. There's over 100 player colors. It can be difficult to guess. Thankfully, Raenarill is always Dark Sapphire, so I don't have to guess that one. And SosijLord. Ooh. Beaster Brown? Beaster Brown Protoss. There you go. A little bit of redemption at the end. So this one is going to be a ZT versus TP, and I do think that there's some interesting map-based ramifications to this matchup because this is an older style map called Blood Diamond by the Shambler, I believe. And it is one of those maps where, honestly, this could have been by a bunch of different people because this is back in the era where we mostly made team maps. But as you can see, it's very funky. The base separators are all those. The rush distance is very short. You're not going to be seeing a whole lot of tactical play out of this map, I don't think, at least the first time through. I feel like there's too many early aggression strategies you can do on a map that's this compact. Oh, you know what? Maybe this is an old Jujic map, actually. It's really hard for me to remember off the dome. But anyway, whoever's map this is, thanks for making it, because it means that we get to play on it occasionally and see casted videos on it occasionally. Definitely a shorter map, though. Definitely a shorter map. 8 minerals as well with these ones on diagonals. Diagonals always harvest slower. So even though you got more mineral fields, your efficiency is going to be a lot less. This diagonal as well to this field, and to a lesser extent that one. So it's going to be a double Larvosk into pool for Desire. Meanwhile, we've got SmrtyCakes rocking out on the mech build. Going to go, looks like so far a Vulture-heavy strategy with a couple of Vults. Normally they go like 1 Vulture into Cyclops. Sometimes you can go like 2 or 3. I think it's a very deeply personal situation and decision as to how many Vultures you decide to make. Maverick Hurakan, a little single mine gonna be there. SosijLord says they're gonna focus me first. Interesting tactic there. I mean, if that is the case, it would be because he's going triple gate on one base. And they don't want to deal with Gateway Man A-moving them. Early attack, he says, 4 minutes. Okay, so they're planning. They're planning. Vultures coming out for SmrtyCakes, and it is gonna be a lot of them. It's going to be a fast Vornath from Desire as well. Okay, so I think we're mostly going to be seeing, you see these Zethra cores, you see, some worker production over here, but a lot of military. And, the melee is actually going to be a little bit more useful in a world where there's a bunch of mines that are popping to damage the Hurakan and other such things, right? So now the minefields hit, and those are going to stun targets and then slow them, allowing Zethra cores to kill them while they're stunned, and then, all that stuff. So SosijLord thinks he can kill them pretty early. Let's see if that's true. Sent a Hurakan across to clear some of the mines, but little does he know, SmrtyCakes has plenty more. Looks like Desire wants to take an expansion, going for very fast Vorvs. Vulture Vorv. I mean, I don't know how to feel about that one, but I actually think it could be a pretty sleeper hit. Vultures do pretty good damage by themselves, We've removed damage types from the game, but Vultures attack with many projectiles, which means, it's 2 times 10 instead of just 1x20, which means armor will reduce them twice, right? So that's the kind of thing that you can expect in Cosmo. It looks like the Vultures are going to be charging forward. A single Hurakan catches the move out. Raenarill says he's ready, but I don't know if they're ready for the defense. That one mine going to slow him down a little bit. Sosij says he's on his way. It's going to be a good move. Oh, wow, very confident from SosijLord, but he only has a couple of Ecclesiasts. These units are really good at keeping shields alive, but it feels like those Vultures are going to be able to do a number on them. Zealots do have a lot of armor. Remember what I just said about their armor value. So now once the Vorv frontline is gone, the Vultures cannot stand up to the DPS from stimmed Mavericks. And that is going to be a wrap. Desire going to be falling back. There's plenty of mines to fall back to, but not really on the Zerg's side. Sosij wants to push, and they are picking the correct side as far as which one has less mines. The reaction needs to be swift from Smarty. Desire definitely in trouble. Bit of money float from both of our players in the top. Oh yeah, they're just going to melt to everything that's coming out here from the stimmed Mavericks. That one Hierophant has an opportunity to potentially enchant the attack speed of everything, almost like giving a stim pack over to all of its allies, but it doesn't look like it's going to happen. It needs to stack up a lot of the hits, and now these stimmed Mavericks, they're going to die to a lot of value. Yeah, really 1 or 2 volleys later, the Vultures are going to clean them up. Now, unfortunately, there's still a lot of damage being dealt to Desire's Natural here, and damage is being dealt just by making him make units instead of making workers. That dynamic is definitely still there from StarCraft 1. Another round of Vultures just made it out of the Fulcrums. We need to see more from SmrtyCakes to try to scramble over here, and he could have laid those mines a lot better, a lot faster. It looks like it's still going to be disruptive, as SosijLord is going to get routed. Sent up a couple of Drakodons for the purposes of maybe bossing around some of these mid-range units like the Quasilisk and the Vulture a little bit better. Nice stemmed Maverick usage there from Raenarill to clear the minefield. Still going to push forward, clear a couple of those units. What's the transition point behind it? It's what, 4 Fulcrums with 2 more on the way. Well, SosijLord wants to try to pressure the Terran player instead. He's got his expansion up, although only mining at about like a, I want to say half saturation max. A couple of those Vultures get stunned by their own mines. That's not good. The splash damage is still there, right? It's not damage, it's splash explosion, splash debuff. Now, those mines are definitely going to slow this down. Now, when is Desire going to assist, right? That's the main thing. Is Desire now paying attention to that? You see the camera on the mini-map. The Quas are going to start coming around. Big mine hits to slow this down. Remember, there's still more there, and more are being laid every time another Vulture finishes. This round is going to be sick as the Quas come around here. The Zets pouring in as well to distract SosijLord's units. Only a few Cyprians here for their penetrating attack is going to be really good versus the Quasilisk. Actually, who's going to really get surrounded here? It turns out the Zerg did not have the oomph behind their army to really make that work. A lot of Vultures are coming out. This one is a fast, action-packed game. It might be over just as soon as it started, though. A Zealot was loose in the base. It looks like Quas will take care of that. The front line's about to collapse for SosijLord. He has 2 more Zealots in reserve, but they're not active right now. That was a big volley there, thanks to that stun, stunning 2 of the Vultures of Smarty. Mavericks get stimmed across. Pressuring the Terran player here is the right decision. He's got the fast-moving units. He can counterattack. Zets Vorv, okay, yeah, maybe they can be fast, but they're a little bit more incumbent on the defense, and they're just barely not able to hold on just yet. They are laying a lot of mines. Well, maybe with no front line or minimal front line, this actually could end up finding some impact. And it looks like the Nathrakors have struck. Only 1 Watchdog off to the side. It's going to cancel mining in the main base. Pretty impactful there as the Vultures are just trying to clean this up. The last Maverick of Raenarill's goes down. He no longer needs to worry about focusing on the attack. Instead, he can just try to rally his defense as Desire continues to push through. There's no Watchdog on the natural, but more gates have been added and Drakodons are coming out, so it looks like that will be taken care of over time. That burning Fulcrum going to need to be repaired as Vulture spam continues. SmrtyCakes loves his mono comps, okay? Sometimes it's Cyclops, other times it's Vultures. As the Zeth Vorv descends. Looks like these Nathrakors, they're unlikely to kill that gateway. They don't really do that much damage versus ground. 4 more Drakodons coming out. They might have gotten a little bit too close, but these Vultures aren't laying their mines. That's a blunder from Smarty as he quickly shift-clicks them across. That's going to work out okay. Kind of stopping that bio from reinforcing until most of the Drakodons are all gone. That's, of course, still biting away at that gateway. Haven't been routed just yet. This is still kind of dangerous, but the Quas and Vultures together should be able to overwhelm even the Cyprians here with their formidable splash damage that penetrates targets. More minefields being added. I think they've stuffed them. The worker count favoring Raenarill and SosijLord, but Desire is Zerg. Zerg can definitely remake a lot of workers anytime. Money float for Raenarill also is pretty big. Yeah, SosijLord, he says, damn it, he realizes they've been routed, they've been held. The Vulture man ends up working out. Gazetrith up here as well at the high ground. That increases the defensive power of a lot of the units around it. Basically gives them extra attacks. Doesn't really happen to mines. I should probably make it so that the overlay doesn't appear on mines as a result. All right, the wraparound over here. Ho with your units. I don't know what that means. Oh, go, probably. Next to H is the G key. The Vulture going to clear him out, though. Phalanx to defend. I mean, once you see Phalanx as the Terran player in this situation, once you watch that, you gotta just assume, okay, A, we can go somewhere else, but B, we force them into a defensive posture, right? They're not going out on the map if they're putting Phalanxes in deployment. He asks for some assistance. The Vultures aren't really likely to break through this position, though. The Drakodon and the Ecclesiast combo. Ecclesiasts are really good at restoring shields for anything that's in the area. A couple Scribes go down, but really not the end of the world there for SosijLord. He still has an okay economy. And it looks like this force will very, very slowly be be routed. SosijLord has been exuding confidence this entire game. Even when they get pushed back, he says, you know, oh yeah, we got him now. You know, earlier when he moved out originally, he said they dead. You know, stuff like that. Turns out that the fights end up getting a little bit closer, but there's a kernel of truth to what SosijLord is saying. Stargate on the way for him. If he can get up to some Gladiuses or even Exemplar, he can run the gamut on the army. SmrtyCakes only now going for his natural, so economically speaking, he has been beaten back. His monocomp cracked, goes into Cyclops. And when a player has been monocomping and then they suddenly switch, that's another psychological advantage for you. Desire trying to put the team on their back, see if they can charge forward a little bit better. Doesn't look like they're going to be able to crack that nut, though. Vulture Cyclops is going to be pretty good, but it's not going to be very nice for Desire's units. A Phalanx caught out slipping. That should absolutely be pounced upon. Bit of a whiff from Raenarill here as the Antseal was off to the side trying to absorb some of the pressure. And it looks like the 6-gate style needs to pave the way to 2-star gate. Okay, some Sky Toss mixed in. Anti-air already being established. I'm not sure if there was some kind of infiltration mission or if they're just, you know, at this point you just intuit, yeah, eventually I'm going to need some anti-air, right? And Raenarill does say, I'm tier 2. Make Catas ASAP. We got this. Cyprians in the middle of the map are going to get swarmed and destroyed. That little territory in the middle of the map. Definitely a common thing to fight over. The Cyclops will take hold of it for the top team. And yeah, if Cataphracts do come out, I don't really see what the counteraction is going to be there from the top team. They just didn't have the eco for most of this time to transition tech. Now we've got Desire on the Zorkish Shroud. If the Cataphract count is low enough, you can make a lot of value happen in those early stages. But if they ball up, it becomes so arduous to get rid of them. You need to start outranging them instead of overwhelming them with position. They're just a little too strong otherwise. Speaking of, though, Palladiums are being added. Scrapyards as well. I suppose you could try to do Matador Phalanx in this situation. That does leave you very open and vulnerable to ground versus air situation, right? Cyclops are going to push forward. Honestly, this number of Cyclops can be really deadly even to Protoss ground armies. It is hard to undersell how powerful they are. Now, that being said, for the melee units that charge in, they're going to do a lot of splash damage to the Cyclops. They need to back up. And the anti-synergy is going to be there. Cyclops and Zethra-cores. I mean, Zeth's already popped so fast anyway. Stim is good. That's going to clean up all of those. Sure, though, 9 Gorgor-cores have made it in. They're going to wipe the floor with this base. They're even going to snipe that Exemplar. They're saying, go, go. It's got to be a base race at this point. The Terran could maybe defend against this, but the Protoss are going to have a much harder time. They are going to start breaking through. Only a few Phalanxes are up here. There needs to be some other kind of front line. Where's the reaction? Look at all these units from Desire. He's busy microing the Gorgor-cores on the other side, cleaning house. Not a single scribe remains for the Protoss, but he's got such a strong army, it doesn't really feel like SmrtyCakes is going to be able to hold this. He actually, I think he wasn't paying attention, dude. I think it was in Smarty's situation here, he kind of let Desire down. This counter push had so much potential. Was eating the Nexus as we speak. Kill Zergy says, go Gog. I feel like that's actually, like, upon replay, that he has brought death and dishonor to his family, you know? Still, 9 Gorgs still alive. Not a single one has died. And that's how powerful this position actually is. No planning, right? No units on the rally, really? Is some Madcaps, a single Kata, 2 Cyprians, and an Anchor? Like, obviously, Raenarill could make some more stuff. But Desire absolutely might have been able to win them the game. If Smarty had only stuck around, his minefield would still be up here. He could drag things out for a longer period of time, you know? But I think, honestly, I feel like that's actually a map awareness loss, right? Like, you didn't pay attention to the mini-map. Or maybe he did and still thought it was over, but in that case, it's just a game awareness loss. Ladies and gentlemen, I believe this 2v2 is coming to a close. The Gorgor-cores have been destroyed. Watchdogs, Madcaps, that's the last-ditch effort that Desire had. Rest of the units dying on the rally. That'll be it. No GG, of course. Why GG when your teammate cost you it by losing? Yeah. SosijLord says, nice. Everybody's happy, except for the top team. And that is around. Oh, yeah, but we didn't win. That's right. They the victory conditions are off on this particular map. They were That was a report earlier. Well, I hope, nonetheless, that you guys have enjoyed. And now I will fast forward to the score screen. And just like that, through movie magic, we are here. Check it out and enjoy. Peace. More games coming tomorrow.